Thank you for choosing our Patio Heat channel. I'm Steve. We provide tips and information to extend the enjoyment of your patio project. Our videos give you a knowledgeable overview prior to investing in your outdoor heating equipment. Whether you are a professional or owner-builder, we provide specific details for optimum heat coverage for your application. Post a comment or question, or for developed visual designs, send your request into designs@patioheat.com. We're here to work with you. For over 30 years, patio heating is the bedrock of our business, expressing what works best. Now let's get heating. All right, so here we have this residential covered patio section, and let's go ahead and look at the overall dimensions that we have. So overall dimensions we have is 16 feet 4 inches this side, and then 11 foot 6 inches this side. We have a ceiling height of 10 feet. And then we have a fan here in the center. I have it at 5 feet in diameter. And I have that centered within that realm of 16.4 and 11.6. The other thing is they did mention there's a door that swings into the patio section here from the outside. And I have that at about 36-inch opening. And I have it at 7 feet off the finished floor. There's another door here that swings into the residence itself, so that should not be an issue. And yeah, that's about it. As far as the height of the fan, the difference, I should say the importance of that is just that, you know, we are at somewhere near this distance. I have it at 12 inches and 1/3 of an inch, 12 3/4 of an inch high here. So if that's further down, this might be an issue. If it's further up, it may not be as much of an issue. So something just to keep in mind. Again, 5-foot diameter fan. And I'm going to go ahead and turn all that off here and look at a couple of different options. Now what they mentioned is they want this space here heated, and they said that it's roughly about 8.1 by 8.1. This is the seating position here, and they were hoping to get the heaters, I think, along this wall here or up above the ceiling here. Let's go ahead and look at what you might put up there. If it was along the wall here, and I have this clearance on right now, but if it was along the wall here, on a CD 5200 model, so 5200 watt units, and there's 2 of them here. I have them at 3 foot center to center, end to end from each other, and that's the center point. That 1.5 foot is the center point of the patio. And I have these at a 30-degree tilt from straight down to the ground, 30 degrees out. And let's go ahead and, and I should also mention that when you put it on a vertical surface wall, something of that nature, you need to make sure that the top of the unit has 12 inches of clearance above the heater to the high point of the heater itself. So that's why I have it at 12 inches here. And let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. Now, would this footprint of heat work for this particular application? It would be fairly decent. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the footprint that we're looking at as far as the request for the heating position, but you can see here that we're obviously heating up more than we really need to, and so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off and talk about the output of the heat itself. So the output of the heat itself, you know, this is a 10-foot high, so the bottom edge of this is going to be probably about 8 foot. I'm going to guess somewhere 7 inches, something like that, but let's go ahead and look at what that's 8'7", and the intensity would be excellent for right here, just with the one unit. If I was to actually just delete this one unit here, and let me just turn that off for a second, it would be fine for this position right here. However, if you're sitting over here, this is not going to be as intense. The other thing I would like to mention is the fact that the air movement comes through the patio. This is going to be a screened-in enclosed patio section, and the air movement does come through here. Now, the screened-in section does help reduce the amount of air movement throughout a patio, but you're still going to be exposed to the cold air really about, this position right around here. I should also mention, going back to the dimensions, that we have this at 11'6", and this heater's roughly about 6 inches off. And if you were to take the center point here, come out 8 feet, which is roughly about this distance right about here, that's the maximum distance that the heat will actually throw for a comfort zone. So if you're sitting here, you're not going to be really in that comfort area. You probably will feel very little bit of the heat itself. So this is not my ideal application. However, it would work for this position fairly decently. And I just threw that one back on just so we can keep track of things here. So let's go ahead and turn that off, and then let's go ahead and look at what my preferred option would be. And my preferred option would be actually to take 6,000 watt units. These are 6224s, CD models, and I have them at 18 inches of clearance from this edge. I actually moved this one a little bit further than that 18-inch clearance. The one issue I'm looking at is clearances below the heater, and I want to make sure that I'm meeting that 18-inch clearance from this 36-inch door panel here. Now that 36-inch door panel I have is from that midpoint here to the end over here, not from the edge of the framing here, but to that midpoint here. So something just to think about. This one here is centered within the patio, and if you noticed, this one over here is off-centered so that we're meeting that clearance over here. Let's go ahead and look at, and we are meeting the 18 inches of clearance on this left side over here, but let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. And again, we're dealing with the air movement throughout a patio at that 20-degree angle, so straight down 20 degrees out, straight down 20 degrees out. And here we have a good coverage, very good coverage right here, and even right here is a fairly decent coverage. Over here wouldn't be as excellent. However, with the second heater coming this direction, that would make it a nice overlapping ray, so you got double the amount of heat, even though it's at its furthest throw as far as the intensity is concerned. You have a double amount of heat, and that would make it very, very comfortable over here. And let's just say in the future you decide you want to place another seating position over here or something other than that, this specific. This would give you a lot of flexibility throughout the span of utilizing the space. So that would be my preferred. And then I'm going to go ahead and just hide this particular unit here for a second. And let's go there. And I'm going to shoot on another unit. Now this is the 5200 watt unit mounted on the ceiling at a 20-degree angle. And you can see we are actually penetrating the clearance area here. And what I want to mention is, if this was a door that was mechanically inclined to always shut no matter what, then you're outside of that clearance area. You can see I'm not meeting this beam over here. Probably, like I said before, I have this at 36 inches, and I'm guessing that's what that true measurement is. But here, if this door always closed no matter what, mechanically, not electronically, then this would work out just fine using this model here, the 5224, and the 6,000 watt over here. Mounted on the ceiling, the reason I mounted on the ceiling is because of the fact that when you mount it on the ceiling, you're a bit higher than what I showed here before. When you mount it on a wall, you're not as high as these units here. So that would be my preferred, is something like this. I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. And then look at one other option. And by the way, let me go ahead and do this for you. I'm going to turn off the ray. This is the infrared light wave itself. It's not visible to the human eye. Infrared is not something that the human eye can actually see. So you won't see this orange ray coming out. But it will be, this is the penetration mark of the footprint of heat. And so I want you to see that. As well as, let's turn off the clearance below. And then just talk about real quick here the way the infrared light waves work. So you can see there's the shadow here now from the sunlight I've just turned on. And that shadow, if you're standing in the shadow light or the shadow of the sunlight, you're not going to feel the warmth of the sun in any way. But as soon as you step out into the sunlight itself, or come out here even, you're going to feel the warmth of the sun. And the temperature in the air temperature, is not different from here to here, based on, you know, being outside, because hot air just rises, and if you heat up air, it's just going to rise and go out into the atmosphere. Whereas infrared light wave, the same light that comes off the sun, will penetrate any mass, and that mass heats air down the road, but the human body is mass. And so if you're standing in that ray, you will feel the warmth just like the infrared light wave itself. If you're standing in the light wave, you're going to feel, or you're sitting in the light wave, you're going to feel the warmth. I wouldn't stand too much in a light wave like this unless you have a control panel. The control panel allows you to dim the system up and down, but these are made for the sitting purpose here. That's the intensity why I choose the 6,000 watt and the 5,200 watt unit as opposed to a smaller unit here. But this would be an excellent application here. And then let's go ahead and look at one other possible option, and that would be maybe utilizing just one unit here. This is a 6,000 watt unit mounted on the ceiling, 18 inches of clearance that I have behind here. And that 18 inches of clearance, just so you know, is based on this 20-degree angle, and I have that right up that point from here to here. If I went ahead and just measured that distance here, I'm gonna go ahead and just show you what that might look like for you. So from here to the heater itself, if I went like that, you can see that it's 18 inches. It says 1 foot 6 inches. However, if I mount it or move it so that it's this way here, it's 18 inches this direction. I should show you this here, maybe. This might work out a little bit better. I'm going to go straight down. Here you can see it's 16 1/4 inch from edge here to edge over here. So it's less distance because of the angle that I'm actually making on the heater itself, still meeting the clearances over here. So I just want you to see that. But in any case, would this one here work? Yes, it would. Like I said before, we're just heating the one space here. We're still trying to get the heat to travel further out, and this is that windy or the wind movement side of the patio itself. So this is not going to be as comfortable as it would over here. And another thing, just so you can see, I'm going to turn off the clearance below and look at the distance I have from this edge here to the outside edge over here. And let's go ahead and bring that way over here. So you can see that's 2 feet 11 1/4 inch from that outer edge. So, all right, I think that's about it. Let me go ahead and turn this one back on. This is the 52, this is the 6,000, and I would say this is the perfect application if we made this door mechanically inclined to shut at all times. You could move this heater over slightly. Let's go ahead and show that. And I'm going to open up this door once more.